Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Got a brand spanking new article from the Daily Hodl. Yeah, you smell that? It's got that new article smell, which I know it's really just chemicals and glue, but it smells pretty good. Here's the headline. $500 million XRP worth over $161 million leaves crypto exchange Kraken on-chain data. And it is interesting. Part of what they ended up pointing out in this article is like there's been a lot of activity surrounding the XRP ledger lately that's not necessarily that particularly common, from tons of whale activity. And then I've been reporting recently volume. There's that one crazy volume spike where there's something like inside of an hour or something like that, I think it was 18 billion XRP transactions inside of like an hour. It's just outrageous stuff, which is, by the way, close to a fifth of the total supply in existence of XRP. Just bonkers stuff. And it doesn't mean it could have bounced. It doesn't mean it was only one transaction necessarily. It could have been that transacted a bunch of times. But setting that aside, the point is there's been a lot of interesting activity surrounding XRP specifically. And it kind of begs the question, like, what is happening next? What do we actually have to look forward to? Well, I got a couple things to share with you on that front because there's some data, and I do like to share this with you time to time. Like, it highlights, especially when people are feeling down times like this, it's worth reminding you just how supremely early you are. I'm going to show you it's a little bit of data from the XRP rich list, which will allow for a perfect segue into this article, also from the Daily Hodl, titled Global Crypto Adoption Exceeds 320 Million Users, According to Study. Here's the country leading the charge. So you might read that headline and be like, am I really that early? 320 million people are already into crypto? Sounds like a lot until you crunch the numbers. There are, let's just say there are, to use a round number, 8 billion humans on the planet, and maybe it's 7.8 billion, but let's use 8. If it's 8 billion people, because that's close enough, that means only 4% of humans have ever bought a cryptocurrency at any point in time, and almost none of them, of that 4% of humans, almost none of them have ever held XRP at any point in time. It's probably something like 0.004%. It's something, it's ridiculously low. It's been a while since I even tried to figure that out. I talked about it on the channel previously, but it's almost nobody. And so that's why I always say, like, this is, for me, a binary bet. Either XRP goes to zero ultimately, or it's going to be worth a freaking fortune. I don't think there's going to be middle ground or in between, because if it has long-term viability, it's among the first of movers in the world of crypto, and it can and is beginning to solve global problems. But anyway, before sharing additional thoughts on this, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun, damn it. Now, as I record this, XRP is at 33 cents, Bitcoin at $20,210, market cap actually back just a hair over that $1 trillion mark. Yeah, I love to see it. Bitcoin dominance at 38.53%. And the Crypto Fear and Greed Index at 27 out of 100, up from 24 out of 100 yesterday. But still, that's a place of fear for the typical retail speculator, those lovable, cuddly little retail lemmings out there. But got some good news for you. If some of the people that I follow are correct, and most of the analysts that I follow tend to think this way, like the bottom truly is already in. So let me share with you a couple thoughts on this before I get to the XRP specific part. There is this tweet from Income Sharks from just this morning, and he shared it with his 330,000 followers. And it's a Bitcoin USD chart. So it's just the price of Bitcoin, but specifically on the Coinbase cryptocurrency exchange. And here's an interesting fact. Check this out. And by the way, it's worth noting this chart goes back to like the beginning of 2017, basically. But anyway, Income Sharks wrote, #Bitcoin. Third largest red volume candle in Coinbase history. Last 2 times we saw that big of a candle were local bottoms. Now add one of the largest horizontal supports. People might be overcomplicating things here. So look at what he's talking about here. He's talking about the red candles. The 3 largest red candles in terms of volume, which is where he drew these little blue arrows he's pointing. This is the most recent one. I guess it would have been, probably June. So that's the most recent one. That's the 3rd largest one in history. The second largest and the very largest, worth noting, all of them occurred within the last roughly, call it 2.5 years. All of it, which shouldn't be that surprising. Think about how many new people jumped into crypto for the first time, especially last year, and certainly part of 2020 as well. So when you did have those notable pullbacks, there's so many more people. Of course, there's more volume. So it's not necessarily surprising to see that. But what did that indicate when we had these tremendous, red candles in terms of volume that we're talking about right here? Well, you can see it correlates with local bottoms on the Bitcoin price chart for Coinbase. So is history going to repeat, or is this not mean anything now? It just kind of makes you wonder. And that's one thing that you can look at. And then when he's talking about a large horizontal support, it's where my mouse is going left and right here. Because you can look, I mean, when he's talking about support, look, he's talking about the previous Bitcoin all-time high of close to $20,000. It's acting as support on top of the fact that all of these these volume indicators were just gigantic, and they were local bottoms. Well, the first two were. The third one looks like it could stay as that. Is it going to? Well, I mean, we're going to find out together. I also watched a video from my fellow XRP YouTuber today, the blockchain backer, and I'm not going to rehash everything that he said. That I did want to share with you one thing, though. In his video, and I'm sure a bunch of you caught it, he pointed out, and I think he gave a total like 5 indicators, and he went into great detail as to what they were and why, but like 5 indicators that would make you think, these are in line with what you'd expect from a bottom. So maybe it really is, and if you want all the specifics, go check out his channel. I don't want to rehash all that, but that's the sentiment that he shared. And so there's just 2 analysts that I happen to follow and respect, just kind of thinking the same thing. It's probably, and look, neither of them says it's 100% sure thing. Not Income Sharks, not the blockchain backer, but still, you got to kind of wonder what's going on here. Now, as far as XRP specifically, there's this headline from the Daily Hodl again: $500 million XRP worth over $161 million leaves crypto exchange cracking. Oh yeah, chemicals and glue. Can you smell that, guys? Chemicals, that's a beautiful smell. Anyway, on-chain data reveals that an XRP whale transferred more than $160 million worth of XRP from a top crypto exchange. According to blockchain tracker Whale Alert, XRP valued at approximately $161.2 million was moved from crypto exchange Kraken to an unknown wallet, and that's a lot of XRP. That's $500 million XRP. And it is amazing. I don't want to read the whole article, but I just want to make the broader point here. It's interesting. This whole transaction moving that type of value, $161 million, cost 0.000012 XRP, so way less than a penny, to move that much. The legacy financial system cannot do this. And so using XRP as a bridge currency in conjunction with the existing legacy financial system, which is going to change dramatically in the coming decades, that makes a ton of sense. It really substantially brings down costs, which is why the Ripple's doing and positioning XRP is just a brilliant thing. And if we ever evolve to a point where people actually are widely using crypto instead of fiat currency, well, XRP will have been there from the earliest of days, and it is technologically sufficient to be used as a peer-to-peer cash system, which is what Satoshi Nakamoto, mind you, was positioning Bitcoin to be from the beginning. If you go to the Bitcoin white paper, he said, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer cash system. Well, it can't do that on layer 1, obviously. Maybe Lightning Network magically works at some point in the future, but XRP doesn't even need that. So you could worry, well, what if XRP doesn't need to be used as a bridge currency? People use this. Well, look, you're always going to need to bridge from something to another in an increasingly tokenized world, but even if that weren't true, if you're going to have a cryptocurrency replace fiat anywhere on the planet, well, it's not just going to magically have adoption and liquidity the world over. It helps a lot if you have first mover's advantage or close to it, and XRP has close to it. So even if a cryptocurrency is going to be used in place of money, and even if you don't need to worry as much about bridging a fiat currency to another fiat currency, and I'm not saying that's ever going to happen, but even if it did, if you ever worry about that, it doesn't mean XRP is suddenly useless, and that's not even counting all of the other use cases, which I highlight regularly on the Moon Lambo channel, which, as you know, is the best YouTube channel that is in existence. The best channel on all the YouTubes, damn it. And so looking forward and recognizing all of these things is why I thought it'd be fun to highlight this. You guys ever check out the XRP Rich List? It's a fantastic little website here. Well, here's a screen grab from XRFaro33 on the Twitters, and I just happened to come across this. And he wrote the following and shared the screen grab. You can see there. He wrote, "Seeing this data always puts me in a good mood. It puts everything into perspective. If you own XRP, you are one tiny grain of sand on the beach. You don't understand how ahead of the global population you really are. You are part of history. Now, look, that I believe is accurate. And I believe that for years, which is why I've gone so heavily into crypto myself. I firmly believe that to be the case. And given that that's true, that's why I always say too, like, we don't need all the hypey nonsense conspiracy theory crap, because if you just look at what's really happening in the real world, there's way more than enough reason to be excited about the future of crypto and XRP specifically. I mean, hell, consider this. To be in the top 1% of XRP holders on the planet, and I know this might sound like a lot to some of you, and for some of you, you've got way more than this too, so, but if it sounds like a lot, I'm just saying, if you want to be in the top 1% of XRP holders on the planet, you need 61,355 XRP. That's it. And you might think that's a lot, with XRP being, a little, what did I say it was? Did I say 33 cents? Let me go back to it. Yeah, it's so 33 cents today. So let's just say, in order to be in the top 1%, you would need to slap down, a little over $20,000. I get that. It's something. It's like, you could have a car. I get that. But the fact that you could have a car instead, like, isn't that kind of interesting to you? Because there are people that will have car payments, and I'm not making fun of you. I'm sure there's probably people listening that have a car payment. I have done it in the past. I don't anymore. If I want to buy something, for me, it's pretty much either I have the money and I'll buy it, or if I don't, then I just won't buy it. That's how I treat almost everything in life. But anyway, setting that aside, I'm just saying, like, people say, I could never attain this. Well, what if instead of putting $500 a month into a car for 5 years, you put $500 a month into XRP for 5 years? Because if we're right, and I still think this is a binary thing, like I keep saying, like, it either goes to zero or it's worth a freaking fortune and it's life-changing. If that's true, imagine if you would put $500 a month into XRP for 5 years. What would that even be? Like, that would be an outrageous amount of XRP. You'd be probably way higher than the top 1%, right? At this point? I mean, especially considering how the XRP was, the price was even lower for most of the last 5 years, right? So that's why I'm saying, like, so if we're right, and I think most of us think that there's really a genuine opportunity, not that there's no risk, there's risk, and we could be wrong and it could go to zero, but like, if we're right and crypto keeps getting adopted and XRP continues to come along for the ride, well, like I said, just at the outset of the video, it's estimated that only 4%, and it could be a little bit less now, like close to 4% of humans on the planet have ever held any crypto at any point in time, and way less than 1% of humans have ever held XRP at any point in time. So it's not a ton of those people, and so I am speaking globally when I say that way less than 1%. I might have misspoken now that I'm thinking about it earlier. When I said less than 1% at the earlier part of the video, I did mean globally. So when I was saying whatever it was, whether it's 0.004, whatever the hell, percent of humans, that's what I was talking about. Now, but still, how many out of the 4% have ever held XRP? So it's like, it's just like, I don't know, man. Almost nobody. Now that we know for sure, even though we can't, it's so messy, it's hard to you can't get to an exact number and there's so many moving parts. But based on what we do know, it's almost nobody, and here we are first, which is why it's so exciting. That's why everybody's so interested in crypto. That's the reason that it's been so life-changing. If way more money's going to flow in, and way more money's going to come in, and thanks to BlackRock and other institutional firms that are going to follow suit and trillions flow in, and what do you think that does to bid up the price over the coming 5 to 10 years in particular? Not that we wouldn't see neat price activity prior to that, but I'm just saying, can you imagine another 5 or 10 years out? What that's going to look like? What's the price of XRP going to look like if it does truly have long-term viability? That's why I keep saying it's going to be completely flippin' outrageous. And adoption does keep on increasing. Here, look at this headline from the Daily Huddle. Global crypto adoption exceeds 320 million users, according to study. Here's the country leading the charge. A new study from a digital asset payments firm reveals that hundreds of millions of people around the globe are using cryptocurrency. Singapore-based AAA says the firm gathered data from more than a dozen reports and surveys to, quote, obtain the most encompassing and accurate set of statistics, end quote, for their study. According to the firm's research, global crypto ownership rates stood at an average of 4.2% as of this year, translating to more than 320 million digital asset users worldwide. So I'll just pause a note. If it's 4%, 4.2%, if that's closer, fine. But it depends on how many humans you think are on the planet. And even that's disputed, and it's changing constantly, obviously. But either way, whatever it is, we're splitting hairs here. It's almost nobody. It's almost freaking nobody. Anyway, piece continues. Leading the charge of global crypto adoption is the United States with 46 million users, followed by India and Pakistan with 27 million and 26 million users, respectively. By continent, the study reveals that Asia is ahead of the curve with 130 million crypto users. Africa grabs the second spot with 53 million crypto users, followed by North America's 51 million users. So according to the study, the growth of crypto users since 2014 appears to be following the trajectory of internet adoption in the 1990s. Well, isn't that interesting? I've talked about this concept before, but for those of you that are looking at your screen, you can see what we're talking about here. Internet versus crypto adoption. Isn't it funny how it's mirroring it, but also isn't it even more interesting and fantastic that retail's in this before institutional money and the everyday person can achieve in a much more easy fashion life-changing wealth? Because like the internet, that's great in terms of that's the sharing of data. This is like the sharing of things of value. So it's no wonder that there's, in terms of life-changing wealth opportunity, there's no wonder that this is dwarfing the internet, you know? Now, outside of life-changing money, you can argue which is more important. I mean, if you don't have the internet, then you don't have this either, so I understand that. But I'm just saying, even if it's adopted at the same clip, there's more money in it. There's more value, so to speak, right? Piece continues. As for Bitcoin, the study highlights that the value of the leading crypto by market cap grew a staggering 540,000% from 2012 to 2021. And here's a quote. Bitcoin reached an annual growth rate of 60% in 2021, and the cryptocurrency market is predicted to grow with a compound annual growth rate of 56.4% from 2019 to 2025. Is this not absolutely wild stuff here? I mean, it's the craziest damn thing. And this, you can pinch yourself, this is real life. Now, looking at the impact of crypto across various industry, the study highlights that 85% of businesses based in the US say enabling digital payments, asset payments, is a high priority. In addition, businesses that accept crypto payments witnessed a 327% increase in return on investment on average and a surge of up to 40% of new customers. So if you're talking about, as they stated here, compound annual growth rate of 56.4%, my gosh. And they're talking about the cryptocurrency market just in general. Like, that's going to dwarf anything. And don't think that it just means, and again, we're talking about compound here, but depending on what you have, like if you compare the returns from a coin like XRP versus Bitcoin over the next, say, decade, just make a really long time span, it's not even going to be close. If both are existing in a decade and both are still adopted, the returns from this point in time are going to be way greater for XRP because there's way less money in it, and it's easier to get a doubling, tripling, quadrupling, so on and so forth effect. This has never happened in the history of mankind. There's a reason I'm excited about this literally every single day, and I love running this channel. It's my most favorite just hobby that I've ever had. It's good times even in the bear market. And so, yes, it gets scary for people, I understand, when things are down, but if you just look at the trend that's been occurring, like since the beginning of crypto adoption, it's very obvious that despite massive pullbacks, eventually things just turn around again. This is not my first bear market, and it will not be my last, I'll tell you that. But this is why I've been glad that I've been purchasing recently. I'll go ahead and wrap it there, though. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write, so that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.